Hello, readers. Today we are going to continue our work with Number the Stars, just as we have the last couple of weeks. So, today we're going to be talking about images and how images are important to comprehension. Have you ever been reading a book and all of a sudden you just stop and think, I can't picture what's going on. I wish I could see what the scene looked like. Or maybe you have a character where you just can't figure out what you think that they might look like. Or maybe you've been picturing a character a certain way and then all of a sudden a detail comes into the story and it completely throws a wrench in what you've been picturing this entire time. Well, that happens to me, and luckily we don't have to be confused and we don't have to be guessing because we live in a world where we can have access to almost any kind of image from any kind of time period right at our fingertips. And I have been so excited in the past when I'm reading a book to stop and quickly look at I grab my computer or my iPad and I just look up pictures of the place that the story is taking place or of people that are real in history from the story. It just really helps me process through what's happening in the story. And overall, I end up understanding and connecting to the story much better. So today's I can statement is I can use images to better understand the text. And we're looking at an anchor chart here that walks us through how we can use images to deepen our understanding. So these are some things I want you to watch me model when I'm going through some of these pictures. First, you want to ask yourself, what does the picture remind you of in the book? Then look again at the book and make sure you're connecting that when you look up a picture, that you're going back to that spot in the book and you're looking to see, okay, when I read this, is this what I pictured or is it totally different? I also want to make sure that you look at all the parts of the picture and really pay attention to the details. Also, using expert vocabulary to describe what you see. So things like in the foreground of the picture, I see this. In the background, I see this. Comparing what you've been picturing in your mind to what you see in the image. This is one of my favorite ones because I oftentimes am completely wrong in what I was picturing. So I like to just kind of do a mental comparison of what I had been picturing versus what the image actually shows. And finally, just think about how the picture and how it's the same or different from what you were picturing, how that affects the envisioning of what you read. So let's try this. Right here we have King, Christian, and Jubilee. And right away, I'm taking in a lot of things. I'm noticing, one, he does not look at all what I was picturing. For some reason, when I picture King Christian, I was picturing like this really huge, like superhero looking guy with a really big grin on his face. And King Christian in this picture actually looks really respectful and he looks serious and he looks kind, but he's definitely not like full of laughter and he's definitely not supersized. I'm also noticing in the background that all of these people are like so excited to see him and just getting in big crowds around him. And that tells me that by the smiles and things that I see on these people's faces, they love this king. He's reaching out, he's grabbing their hands. This is a very loved king, and that goes along with what Anne-Marie tells us in the story. This is a picture of the night the day before the night where all the Jews were going to be gathered after Rosh Hashanah. And you can see here, these are the streets of Copenhagen, and all of these soldiers are marching up and down. And if I lived here, I would be thinking, like you can see this little boy here just staring at them, wondering what is happening? Why are there so many soldiers just marching down the street together? This picture, I would say, okay, this is a group of Danish kids, and they're holding American flags because they were very happy that the American armies were coming to liberate them. So they would wave American flags. This is probably right after the war was won because I don't believe that the Nazi soldiers would have allowed them to wave this flag. So I'm paying attention to that detail. I'm also noticing that they look just like kids from America. If